The Council with the Munchkins. Dorothy was awakened by a shock that made her catch her breath and wonder what had happened. Toto put his little nose into her face and whined. She sprang from her bed and with Toto at her heels ran and opened the door. The little girl gave a cry of amazement and looked about her, her eyes growing bigger and bigger at the wonderful sights she saw. The cyclone had set the house down very gently, for a cyclone, in the midst of a country of marvelous beauty. There were stately trees bearing luscious fruits all about, banks of gorgeous flowers were on every hand, and birds with brilliant plumage sang in the trees and bushes. While she stood looking eagerly at the strange and beautiful sights, she noticed coming toward her a group of queerer people she had ever seen. They were not as big as the grown folks she was used to, but neither were they very small. In fact, they seemed about as tall as Dorothy, although they looked many years older. 3 were men and 1 a woman, and all were oddly dressed. They wore round hats that rose to a point, with little bells around the brims that tinkled sweetly as they moved. The hats of the men were blue, the little woman's hat was white, and she wore a white gown, sprinkled with little stars that glistened in the sun. The men were about as old as Uncle Henry, but the little woman was much older. Her face was covered with wrinkles, her hair was nearly white, and she walked rather stiffly. When these people drew near the house, the little old woman walked up to Dorothy, made a low bow, and said, "You are welcome, most noble sorceress, to the land of the Munchkins. We are so grateful to you for having killed the Wicked Witch of the East, and for setting our people free from bondage." Dorothy listened to the speech with wonder. What could the little woman possibly mean by calling her a sorceress, and saying that she killed the Wicked Witch of the East? Dorothy had never killed anything in all her life. Dorothy said with hesitation, "You are very kind, but there must be some mistake. I have not killed anything." "Your house did, anyway," replied the little old woman with a laugh, "and that is the same thing. See, there are her 2 feet still sticking out from under a block of wood." Dorothy looked and gave a cry of fright. Just under the corner of the house, 2 feet were sticking out, shod in silver shoes. "She was the Wicked Witch of the East," said the little woman calmly. "She has held all the Munchkins in bondage for many years, making them slave for her night and day. Now they are all set free and are grateful to you for the favor." "Who are the Munchkins?" inquired Dorothy. "They are the people who live in this land of the East where the Wicked Witch ruled," replied the old woman. "Are you a Munchkin?" asked Dorothy. "No, but I am their friend. I am the Witch of the North, but I am a good witch, and the people love me." Just then the Munchkins gave a loud shout and pointed to the corner of the house. The little old woman laughed. The feet of the dead witch had disappeared entirely, and nothing was left but the silver shoes. "She was so old," explained the Witch of the North, "that she dried up quickly in the sun. That is the end of her, but the silver shoes are yours." She picked up the shoes and after shaking the dust out of them, handed them to Dorothy. "There is some charm connected with them, but what it is we never knew." "I am anxious to get back to my aunt and uncle, for I am sure they will worry about me," said Dorothy. "Can you help me find my way?" The witch shook her head. "A great desert surrounds this land of Oz. You must go to the City of Emeralds. Perhaps Oz, the great wizard, will help you. He is a good wizard." "How can I get there?" asked Dorothy. "The road to the City of Emerald is paved with yellow brick," said the witch, "so you cannot miss it. You must walk It is a long journey, through a country that is sometimes pleasant and sometimes dark and terrible. However, I will use all the magic arts I know to keep you from harm. No one will dare injure a person who has been kissed by the Witch of the North." She came close to Dorothy and kissed her gently on the forehead. Her lips left a round, shining mark. Then the witch whirled around on her left heel 3 times and straightway disappeared, much to the surprise of little Toto, which barked after her. But Dorothy, knowing her to be a witch, had expected her to disappear in such that way, and was not surprised in the least.